A colorful exterior belying a dark and terrible past. These are the best kind of characters. A character who surprises you with their nuance, who could easily be one note and boring, but they have more to offer. This is Roccia, Wuthering Waves' latest 5-star Havoc character, and her beautiful musical-inspired PV just dropped. It's filled to the brim with references, such as to The Lion King, perhaps The Birth of Venus, Romeo and Juliet, and so much more. But that's not what I'm going to focus on here. I want to talk about Roccia, and what this PV means for her character. Despite what appears to be a colorful and outgoing girl, Roccia finds it very difficult to open up to people. In the introduction of the 2.0 story, that meant that she even hid from Rover, and subsequently acknowledged how cringe that was later.
We've met before on Brand's ship. I was in this box.
In her PV, many beautiful paintings turn to monsters that try to attack her. Perhaps this refers to the terrible memories she tries to keep locked inside. After all you have to do is take one look at her design to see how important the motif of lock and key is for her. Because, just as her name suggests, her very heart is under lock and key. Roccia is the Italian word for rock. And while true, this could sound a little bit silly, it describes her very well. She has a cold exterior, and she's hardened herself to deal with the cruelties of the world. In the PV, we see what seems to be a dramatized flashback from her time on the Pilgrim's Tale, or rather, just after she arrived at her destination. Whatever she did as just a very young child was enough to have her branded as a blasphemer and sent away, off to die with all the people around her. We see them fade away, leaving behind mementos that Roccia would later collect herself. But in this PV, just as she is about to give up, she hears the voice of Pero and the other fools, and she's rescued by Pero from certain doom. Pero herself appears to be an echo, something similar to a chest mimic, perhaps. But reflecting Pero's ghostly exterior, Roccia has an affinity for ghostly entities herself. The 2.0 main story reveals that she is hauntingly familiar with the victims of the Pilgrim's Tales. She attempts to rescue them, or failing that, attempts to comfort the remnant energy of the people who didn't make it, while at the same time, watching the frequencies of many more become tacit discords. It is indeed a grisly reminder that tacit discords are often what's left behind of people who once lived. And then we capture them and put them in our little terminals. That's kind of messed up, isn't it? Well, anyway, Pero seems pretty happy to be here. At the end of the PV, the sun rises again, and filled with new hope, the curtain closes on her latest act. Roccia's companion story comes out in just a few days, and I'm very, very excited for it. No doubt, she is the type of character you will grow to love. She's not eternally sad or damselized, yet she performs a job that is fitting of a young child. She's quite low-key and not energetic, which is reflected well in her voice line delivery. And she's a good example of an introverted character, because yes, it's perfectly possible for introverts to do public-facing jobs, like performing. But at the end of it all, you just gotta hide away for a bit and recharge your social battery. And that's what Roccia's like. She's had to experience being put to death in one of the most heartless ways possible, and she's come out the other side. And while she may be closed off, eager to blame her own failures on Pero at times, she used what happened to her as inspiration to help others like her. And the execution of her character is just excellent. The PV, meanwhile, is an absolute delight I cannot play you any audio from because of its musical style nature. I don't want to get copyright claimed out here. But all the references, the way the music tells a story, it's wonderful. I'm not much of a musical girly myself, but I do love a pantomime. Pantos are great, and if you're ever in Ireland, you should definitely go see one. But even in game, while she's willing to separate from Brant on occasion, there's one who's always by her side. And that is, of course, Pero, who heartwarmingly proclaims at the very start of the PV, "I'd give everything for you, even if it cost me my life." And I cannot wait to have their bond explored in her companion quest. If you're watching this in the future, tell me if her companion quest hit home for you. Out of every single one of the amazing characters introduced in 2.0, even in spite of my great love for Zani, Roccia is the one who really won my heart. And I don't need to protect her because I know Pero will. Coincidentally, Roccia is not only amazing, but can also take advantage of this really cool flight trick. So click the video on screen to learn all about how to do that and why flight is so amazing in Wuthering Waves.